Dr. Han Seung-woo's car screeched into Zenith Tower's underground garage at 12:17 a.m., tires smoking. He found Park Jae-hyun in his private elevator, slumped against the mirrored wall, his shirt soaked with sweat and his breathing labored. "How long?" Han hauled him upright, checking his pulse immediately. 40 minutes since she left." Jae-hyun's voice was raw. "It's fading, but, Han, for those first few minutes I thought my chest would explode." Han practically dragged him to the penthouse medical suite he'd insisted Jae-hyun install 2 years ago. "Sit. Don't move." He worked quickly, blood pressure cuff, EKG leads, oxygen monitor. The numbers painted a terrifying picture. "Your resting heart rate is 110. It should be 60. Han pulled up the EKG readout. "And these irregularities here, you're experiencing premature ventricular contractions. Your heart is misfiring, Jae-hyun." "English doctor." "Your heart is learning to feel again, but it doesn't remember how. It's like teaching someone to walk after 3 years in a coma. Every step risks a fall." Han met his eyes gravely. "What happened tonight with Elena, that level of stimulus, if it happens again without preparation, you could go into cardiac arrest." "So what do I do? Avoid her? Or train your body to handle her, gradually, controlled exposure to emotional stimulus, monitoring your response, building tolerance." Han began packing his equipment. "But Jae-hyun, this will take months, maybe longer, and during that time any shock, physical danger, intense fear, even extreme joy, could kill you." After Han left, Jae-hyun stood at his penthouse windows watching the city sleep. Somewhere out there, Elena was in her apartment, probably trying to process what he'd told her. That touching him might kill him. That loving him came with a death sentence. His phone buzzed. A message from Kang with a surveillance photo attached. A black sedan with tinted windows parked across from Elena's building. The license plate was registered to a shell company Jae-hyun recognized immediately. Baek Do-shik's network. Jae-hyun's jaw tightened. He forwarded the photo to his security team with a single instruction. 24-hour protection detail on Elena Moore. Armed, discreet. No one gets within 50 feet of her. Then he made a second call, this one to his intelligence contact in the police department. "I need everything you have on Baek Do-shik's recent movements. Shipments, communications, associates, everything." "Boss, that's going to take." "You have 6 hours." He ended the call and allowed himself one moment of vulnerability. His hand trembled as he poured whiskey he couldn't taste, staring at his phone where Elena's contact photo smiled back at him. 3 years of numbness, and now the woman who'd brought him back to life was in danger because of it. The devil's bargain, feel everything and risk losing everything. He chose feeling. Morning came cold and gray. Elena arrived at Zenith Tower at 8:47 a.m., carrying 2 coffees and the kind of determined expression that told Jae-hyun she'd made decisions overnight. "You remembered," he said, accepting the black coffee. 3 shots, no sugar, it's in your file." She settled at her desk with deliberate normalcy. "Should we discuss last night, or are we pretending it didn't happen?" "We're working." "Of course we are." But her eyes told a different story. She'd seen him vulnerable, collapsing, and she hadn't run. The morning passed in tense efficiency. Elena reorganized his schedule with surgical precision, fielded calls like she'd been doing it for years, and maintained exactly 3 feet of distance whenever she entered his office. By 11:30 a.m., the tension was suffocating. Then Jae-hyun's desk phone rang, an internal line that never rang unless something was wrong. "Mr. Park, there's a situation in the lobby." His head of building security's voice was tight. 3 men asking for Elena Moore. They won't leave. They're not armed, but... "I'm coming down." Jae-hyun stood, adrenaline already flooding his system. "Elena, stay here, lock the door." "What's happening?" Beek's testing boundaries, seeing how close he can get. He took the express elevator down with Kang and 4 security personnel. The lobby was pristine marble and designer furniture, and 3 men in dark suits standing near the reception desk with the kind of stillness that screamed military training. The lead one smiled when he saw Jae-hyun. "Mr. Park, we're looking for Elena Moore. We have a delivery." "She's not available." "It's urgent from an old friend." "Baek Do-shik isn't her friend." The man's smile widened. "Then you understand the situation. Mr. Baek simply wanted to send his regards and a reminder." He placed an envelope on the reception desk, expensive stationery, Elena's name written in calligraphy. Tell your employer that Ms. Moore is under my protection. The next time he sends messengers, I'll send them back in pieces. Noted will pass along your hospitality. They left without another word. Jae-hyun picked up the envelope with hands that wanted to shake. Inside was a single photograph, Elena leaving her apartment building that morning. The angle suggested a rooftop across the street, professional surveillance. And written on the back, beautiful women should be more careful in dangerous cities. Kang swore he's had eyes on her since she started, maybe before. Increase her security detail. I want armed guards inside and outside the building. And Kang, find me Beak's surveillance team. I want to know who's watching her and where they're watching from. And then we remove them permanently. Back in his office, Jae-hyun made a decision he'd been avoiding. Lunch, he announced, entering Elena's workspace. With me, non-negotiable. I brought my own. Please, the word cost him, but it worked. 20 minutes later, they were in his Mercedes heading out of the city. Elena watched the urban sprawl give way to traditional neighborhoods with growing curiosity. Where are we going? Somewhere we can talk without an audience, somewhere safe. The hanok appeared like something from another era, traditional Korean architecture surrounded by walls and gardens that bloomed despite autumn's chill. Jae-hyun dismissed Kang and led Elena through manicured paths to a pavilion overlooking a koi pond. It's beautiful, she breathed. I didn't think you were the type for gardens. I'm not. My mother loved places like this. I bought it for her, but she died before I could bring her here. I'm sorry. Don't be, she wouldn't have wanted to see what I became. He moved to stand beside her at the railing. 3 years ago, Beak Dushik poisoned me at a gala, 200 witnesses. He smiled while I collapsed. He rolled up his sleeve, showing her the faint scars from experimental treatments. The toxin damaged my sensory and emotional nerves. I survived, but I lost the ability to feel. No pain, no pleasure, no fear, no joy, nothing. His eyes met hers. Until you. What are you saying? When you shook my hand, when you touched me last night, I felt it. For the first time in 3 years, I felt something. Elena stepped back, processing. That's why you collapsed, I triggered. Nerve regeneration. Dr. Han confirmed it, but my body can't handle the shock. Last night my heart nearly stopped. If this continues, if I keep feeling, it could kill me. Then we stop, I resign, problem solved. No. Jae-hyun. I've been dead for 3 years, Elena, breathing but not living. And in 2 days, you've made me feel more than I have since the poison. If choosing you means dying, at least I'll die feeling something real. You don't know me, this could be temporary. Then I'll take whatever time I have. That's insane. Probably. Elena turned away, hands braced on the railing. The silence stretched between them, filled only by water and wind. My father died when I was 12, heart attack. 1 minute laughing, the next gone. Her voice cracked. I've spent 16 years terrified of loving anyone because I know how fast they disappear, and now you're telling me caring about you could literally kill you. Yes. And you want me to do it anyway. I'm asking you to give me a chance to live before I die. She turned, tears streaming. That's the most selfish, beautiful, terrible thing anyone's ever asked me. Jae-hyun moved closer. I don't know if loving you will heal me or end me, Elena, but 3 years of safety felt like dying slowly. If feeling means risk, I'll take it. And what about me? What if I fall for you and you? Her voice broke. What if I lose you? Then you'll have known someone was willing to risk everything just to feel alive with you. Elena's breath hitched, then she reached up and cupped his face with both hands. The sensation was exquisite agony. Heat flooded through him, but he didn't fight it. His heart raced. He could hear it thundering in his ears, but he focused on her face, on the fear and courage in her eyes. His hands found her waist, steadying himself. Slowly, he breathed. We do this slowly. How slowly? However long it takes for my body to remember this is supposed to feel good, not fatal. She laughed through tears. You're insane. Probably, but I'm alive. For the first time in 3 years, I'm actually alive. She leaned in, pressing her forehead to his, hands still cradling his face with devastating gentleness. We do this carefully, she whispered. No rushing, no pushing limits. We build tolerance slowly like physical therapy. Physical therapy for feeling, I like it. And if your doctor says it's too dangerous, then we'll find another way. They stood like that for endless minutes, breathing each other's air, learning the boundaries of touch and safety. When they finally pulled apart, Jae-hyun felt exhausted and exhilarated. Elena straightened his tie, a deliberate echo of last night, and smiled. Baby steps. Baby steps. They returned to the office in comfortable silence, but the shift between them was obvious. Staff noticed immediately, the way Elena moved through his space without hesitation, how Jae-hyun's eyes tracked her across rooms, the unspoken understanding that had changed everything. By 4:00 p.m., whispers had started. By 5:00 p.m., they'd reached Minseo Park, the executive director who'd been trying to catch Jae-hyun's attention for 2 years. At 5:47 p.m., Minseo cornered Elena in the executive break room on the 47th floor. Elena had come for tea, trying to settle nerves still jangling from the morning's confrontation and the afternoon's confession. You're new here, Minseo said, her smile sharp as a blade. She was beautiful in that calculated way, designer suit, perfect makeup, hair that cost more than most people's rent. So let me explain how things work. Elena poured her tea with steady hands. I'm listening. Park Jae-hyun doesn't do relationships, he doesn't do attachment, and he certainly doesn't do, she gestured at Elena with barely concealed disgust, whatever you think this is. I'm his assistant, that's all. Please, the entire floor saw how he looks at you, how he left with you at lunch, how you came back and he actually smiled. Minseo's voice dropped to something venomous. But here's what you need to understand, men like him don't end up with women like you. You're a novelty, a distraction, and when he's bored you'll be replaced like everyone else. Elena set down her cup carefully. Are you speaking from experience? Minseo's expression turned murderous. I'm speaking from observation. I've watched a dozen women try to get close to him. They all failed. Some lost their jobs, others lost more. You will too. Then you have nothing to worry about. Elena walked out, leaving her tea untouched. But Minseo's words burrowed deep. That night, alone in her apartment with armed guards she couldn't see posted outside, Elena stared at her phone. Her mother had called 3 times. Margaret Moore had a sixth sense for when her daughter was drowning. The phone rang again. Hi, Mum. You sound troubled. What's wrong? Nothing, just adjusting to the new job. Elena Gracemore, I've known you for 28 years. You don't hide things from me. Try again. So Elena told her. Not everything, not the poison, not the medical crisis, but enough. The attraction, the complications, the fear that she was in over her head too fast. Margaret listened in silence until Elena finished. Baby girl, let me tell you something your father told me once. He said, Margaret, safe love is comfortable, true love is terrifying. Choose which one you can live with. And which did you choose? The terrifying one, and I had 20 beautiful years before I lost him. Her mother's voice softened. If this man is worth the risk, you'll know. But Elena, don't lose yourself trying to save him. You're not a cure. You're a woman who deserves to be loved for who you are, not what you fix. After they hung up, Elena sat in darkness and wondered if she was already too late. Across the city, Jae-hyun stood at his penthouse window with whiskey he couldn't taste and a heart that wouldn't stop racing. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. The photo loaded slowly. Elena leaving Zenith Tower that evening, taken from street level, close, too close. The message beneath made his blood turn to ice. She's very beautiful. It would be a shame if something happened to her. Beek Dushik. Still alive, still watching, still poisoning everything Jae-hyun touched. Jae-hyun's hand tightened on his glass until it shattered. Blood welled from his palm, bright, red, real. He felt every drop. For the first time in 3 years, pain meant he was alive. And being alive meant Elena was in danger. He grabbed his phone, calling Kang. I need protection detail on Elena Moore upgraded immediately. 24-hour armed surveillance. 3-man teams rotating shifts. I want her covered from the moment she leaves her apartment until she's back inside. And Kang, I want eyes on Beek. Where he goes, who he meets, what he's planning. Boss, what's happened? Beek knows about her. He's made contact. Kang swore viciously. I'll have the upgraded team in place within the hour, but Jae-hyun, if he's already this close, we might need to move her somewhere more secure. Do it, but carefully. I don't want her to feel like a prisoner. Understood. Jae-hyun ended the call and stared at the blood on his palm. The pain was sharp, clear, undeniable. His body was remembering how to feel. But in his world, feeling meant vulnerability. And vulnerability meant everyone he cared about became a target. He pulled up Elena's contact, his thumb hovering over the call button. He needed to warn her, needed to tell her that Beak was circling, that the danger was real and immediate. But calling her at 11:30 p.m. would only terrify her. Better to handle security quietly and brief her in the morning when she was safe in his office, surrounded by his people. He pocketed his phone and walked to his bedroom, knowing sleep wouldn't come. Because Park Jae-hyun had finally found something worth protecting. And in his world, worth protecting meant worth killing for. Baek Do-shik had just declared war. And Jae-hyun would burn the city to the ground before he let anyone hurt Elena more. You've just witnessed Jae-hyun's confession and Elena's choice. But did you catch that final threat? Baek Do-shik is watching and Elena just became his target. Hit subscribe now because episode 3 brings the confrontation you've been waiting for. Drop a comment. Is love worth dying for, or should Jae-hyun let her go to keep her safe? Like this video to help others find this story, because what happens next will shatter everything.